Hey, and welcome, Home and Podcast listeners. This is Jordan, and this week, due to unforeseen circumstances, we don't have a normal episode of Home and Podcast where we cover an episode of Home Improvement. And if you want more information about why, you can always go to our Twitter. But we did not want to leave you guys hanging, so instead, we are going to be releasing one of our favorite Patreon episodes about the certainly memorable 2007 reality TV series Kid Nation. So Adam and I talk about the pilot episode and kind of the series in general and just our reactions, which are definitely unique and interesting. So hopefully you enjoy this Patreon episode that we've put into our main feed here. We'd love to hear you guys' response, or if you guys have any members of this show as well. And we'll be back with Ploys for Tots next week. So take care.
Oh, that roast beef was good, wasn't it? Home and Podcast After Dark
starts now. I want to welcome everybody to Home and Podcast After Dark, a Home and Podcast. My name is Adam. You know my co-host Jordan. Jordan, we did it.
You're very subdued usually you come on the air for a Patreon episode with lots of vim and vigor, but Kid Nation has subdued you.
Yeah, well, I got to start off by saying, man, I got to apologize to you. I really enjoyed this. I really did. I don't know what happened. Like as I was watching it, I was all of a sudden I was like, man, I kind of like this.
It's pretty riveting.
And then at the end, I was like,
did I watch really the second episode?
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm thinking about now, or what I've been thinking about over the last week is do I keep watching this, knowing that no one really wins, and it just is going to kind of keep being the same stuff over and over again. But
it probably would have been better if we would have just stuck to episode 1, and then you would not have known what happened on episode 2, 3, 4.
Right. Yeah. But man, I had a good time, and I got to say, after, I don't know, this came out in 2007, so 13 years of kind of making fun of you. Yeah, man, I kind of liked it. Not at first, but well, I'll tell you the moment that kind of won me over. But
I can't wait to hear that.
I had a good time with Kid Nation, man. I don't know. I'll be curious to hear your experience as well.
Well, we'll get to all that and more, as we dive into the first episode, which was titled "I'm Just Trying to Be a Leader Here." I think.
I thought we were covering every episode because I watched them all. Today.
We will have facts and trivia and everything from probably the whole series. But yeah, we're going to focus on the first episode, which was 57 minutes. So I guess it must have been real time. Either they did no commercial breaks, which is not the case probably.
2 hours?
So it must have been that would have been a lot of commercials. Because
hey,
usually isn't it 42 minutes?
I remember, and might as well start here. I remember coming over to your house. It was a weeknight, and you were very earnestly kind of watching this show, and I didn't give it the time of day. I thought, this is terrible.
You thought everything I did that wasn't related to made-up clubs or
Yeah, this was where I drew the line in terms of nerdiness. I was I'm not watching this nerd stuff.
I'm not watching Kid Nation. I won't play cards with you.
I had to be my own man. I wasn't gonna. Coalesce.
You got to draw the line. I get it.
But I just remember you watching this in the blue room of your house and just really getting
blue room
and thinking man, this sucks. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I wasn't mature enough yet.
Usually it's because you're too mature.
Definitely
I think is the problem.
Well, basically, we're 17 watching this, and there's 15-year-olds on Kid Nation, so maybe I was a little afraid. I saw myself and some of the kids and thought, man, I couldn't handle this.
Well, I know you thought you could have run that town better. So
maybe than some of them. I mean, better than the 8-year-olds, yeah. All right, you better explain it.
All right, well, Kid Nation, as I mentioned, we're covering the pilot here. This is a reality TV show. It was aired in 2007, 13 episodes long. And the idea is you get 40 kids together, varying ages, from 8 to 15, I think was the age range.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the way they presented it in a lot of commercials and stuff was no adults, no rules.
Yeah.
See what happens.
To form a Kid Nation.
But really, I mean, you can't have no adults around. Obviously, people have got... It would have been funny if they would have done, is it Survivor Man, the guy who used to have like his own camera and he was out by himself or whatever.
Yeah.
They would have made like one of these kids like be the cameraman and stuff and do the editing. No, so there's some adults there, and there is a host, Jonathan Karsh, which you'll have some information about him. But that's the idea for the show. They go to Bonanza City. Where was that? It was in the West somewhere,
New Mexico.
obviously. New Mexico. Okay. So this is apparently an old town that, it just died out. The people, the pioneers, I think they call them, could not make it a city.
That's the part of the show that maybe is lacking a little bit, is the like faux history they try to intertwine in.
It's amazing. We'll get into more of that later, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bonanza City, they're going to revitalize this ghost town, which, I guess I didn't see any tumbleweeds, but there might as well have been tumbleweeds everywhere.
So I watched the first 5 minutes like in a separate sitting. In the first 5 minutes, I was like, "This is bullshit. Like, this doesn't even look like a fake town." Because they present it like it's like an abandoned town.
Yes.
I read online they used to use it for like film sets. Like it's it's a recreation of Wild West, which is I'm willing to swallow that a little bit more, because when they were trying to act like this was actual like 1800s structures and stuff, I didn't care for that.
They held up pretty well.
It's like, man, they're all painted nice. That's great. Wow.
Amazing.
The bar is still operational. There's candy in the candy store.
So it's you mix with reality shows, I guess. It's you always are mixing fiction with fact here, and they're doing that liberally. Let's just say that.
Yes.
So the series directed by J. Rupert Thompson, who has 29 credits to his name. You might know some things that he's directed, like Guy's Grocery Games.
One of my favorites, yeah.
Hey, Andrea likes that show. Fear Factor, that was big. Probably around the time this came out.
Eating bull testicles. I'd rather watch this 1,000 times than Fear Factor.
Oh my gosh, I hated that show. And his most recent thing, I guarantee you haven't heard of this, Ryan's Mystery Playdate.
No, I missed that one.
That was in 2019, so still
sounds
working.
Like it'll put you on a list if you watch it.
It does sound very strange.
Yeah.
J. Rupert, he had to get rid of the rest of his name to do that show.
That was court-mandated name change.
What do you have for Jonathan Karsh, the host of the show?
I want to just first say Jonathan Karsh sucks as a host. I do not like... He's the worst part of the show.
This is a tough role, though, you know?
He does this thing where he's like... Everything he says is like building up to like, and we're going to put you on a ghost town all alone in the middle of New Mexico. And that's like every sentence he does is like, and the red team will be going against the green team for $20,000. Like,
so it's just like that South Park episode, basically.
Like the tenor of his voice drives me. It's like very sing-songy, drove me nuts. Didn't like him. The only interesting thing about him is that he won a audience award and like director award at Sundance for a documentary that he did called My Flesh and Blood, that aired on HBO in 2004. So 3 years later, he's doing this. How the Mighty Have Fallen. I don't know.
Wow. It would be interesting to get Jonathan Karsh on the podcast to figure out how he got this role, but we will never put the effort into that.
This is his I think that like he came up with the idea for the show. That's my understanding. And then he came up with the idea for the show that was going to be a show called Kid Nation.
Yes.
I did not like him. And he looks like a 98 Degrees member, which is not his fault, but
hard to deal with that.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't mind him as much as you, but I was just so focused on the kids, you know?
Yeah, well, that's what they want.
Naturally. Drama and kids. We said 2007, only 13 episodes, and was not renewed. There was a lot of controversy about the show.
It's his controversy, like everything that you would think. Like, I don't know that we've explained so basically it's like 40 kids that are supposed to, like, how do they present? Like, they're going to
40 kids in 40 days make a town.
Yeah, they're going to like try to recreate a functioning society, like food, government, money, business, like everything, no adults at all. ages 8 to 15. 8-year-olds are so young. Like, and when you
It's
watch
pretty
this show,
crazy.
the 8-year-olds seem so little, and then the 15-year-olds seem quite old. But
yeah, I guess when we're watching, it's like you got to start at maybe 11. Is that more reasonable? I don't know.
I mean, the kid that leaves at the end of this one, it's just like I felt bad for him the whole time.
Yeah, bring in the
whole
helicopter.
show,
Take him home now.
He was like, I'm too young to be here. I'm telling you, I am not old enough. And they're just like, are you sure you don't want to stay? He's like, no, I want to go. It sucks.
I don't know. I like when he's out playing with the other two boys and
they're trying to like capture the rabbit or something.
Jackrabbit.
Yeah, that was pretty
Going
good.
Jackrabbit hunting. I did not appreciate that as a rabbit owner.
Oh yeah, trigger warning. Yeah.
Yeah, but also like, what else did he say? There was something else.
I got a lot of notes that we can go through.
We'll get to Jimmy in a while.
Yeah,
but
Jimmy.
Yeah, 8 does seem incredibly young.
And I mean,
15 I don't think is too old though.
No, I don't think so either. 15's probably about the age you'd want.
It's right.
For
yeah,
this.
that's right.
Yeah. But the 15-year-olds with the 8-year-olds is just like a funny dynamic. Yeah, so like child labor laws and stuff, that was a big kind of controversial thing.
Now, are they actors? Are they reality
Yeah,
show people? How
right.
much should we pay them? Like all that kind of stuff.
Well, I read. Do you know how much that each kid got?
I think I saw $5,000.
Yeah,
right?
which is not that much. And these parents are like farming their kid. Like, you gotta. The whole time I was watching this, I was thinking like, what kind of parents are allowing this to happen? Like, they're getting $5,000, so like really they're getting like $3,000 after taxes, you know? And it's just like, man, I don't know. It's questionable choices by these parents, I thought. But
They knew all about the gold stars, and they thought their kid was going to win all the gold stars.
those gold stars.
They also
look so fake.
They're ridiculous. They also think, all the promotional opportunities. They're going to be Kid Nation sponsors, just crawling through the woodwork.
Yeah,
get their kid out in the cereal box.
It didn't happen for most of these kids. Although, and I think it's not. I think it's Anjay, not Sanjay. Anjay.
Anjay.
The Indian kid. He got a job at Microsoft, so he's doing pretty well for himself.
Yeah,
Microsoft bigwig.
we both went through that whole article on the Wikipedia page. And
Oh my gosh, it's
robust. I'm sure we have highlights, and we'll talk about it at the end of the show. But do you want to just start going through the first episode?
Yeah,
All right.
I kind of just have like stream of consciousness notes here. So
Yeah,
like,
me too.
let me.
So,
let me see.
the best part about this is the first thing I wrote. Jimmy's the kid that leaves, right?
Yes.
I wrote like, I think Jimmy thinks he's going to die,
It's funny,
which is, I guess, reasonable based on the way they,
I wanna
present the
say,
show.
This show must have cost so much money because, like, I don't know, like, from like a production standpoint, they have like these helicopters and they have these tracking shots and they have like all these like fancy, like the camera angles are very impressive. Like they're doing very technically advanced things, and I thought, man, they must have sunk a lot of money into this show because it like looks really good and they're doing a lot, and like they recreated these sets and stuff. I must have been an expensive operation. I can't help but think they lost a lot of money on it.
I don't know. That would be interesting to find out, but. All the normal kids, I guess you could call them, arrive on a school bus, and I was thinking, come on, kids on a school bus, at least give them like a Greyhound or something. These poor kids are going to be left out in the wilderness for 40 days.
Yeah, except
pooping in one outhouse for a while.
Oh god, that part. Yeah, and so there's the like 36 kids, I guess, on the bus, and then there's 4 like leaders who are.
Oh, this is wild.
And they come in a helicopter. And after
instantly, everyone should hate them, right?
Yeah, well, and I just didn't like seeing anybody in a helicopter after like the stuff that's been going on lately. It just like made me uncomfortable seeing anyone near a helicopter. But yeah, these 4 kids come out and they're just like preordained leaders. So you got Mike.
That's the first thing that made me mad about the show.
Okay, go on.
Because like, if you're gonna have these kids recreate society, don't give them any structure of government. Just give them 40 kids, and they have to figure it out. That was my biggest problem with the show. But
that's your biggest problem. You just want no structure.
I just want anarchy. I want to see what happens.
True
when you take
Lord
these...
of the Flies. Yeah.
But yeah, no, they do create some structure. So you were going through their names. You said Mike,
Anjay,
Laurel,
and then the young girl Taylor, she's She's a handful.
She's a pistol.
She's a pistol, isn't she? I wanted to say one thing. In the beginning, as the host is talking like this, they're like, they're going through the preamble or whatever, and the show, this is bad. Like, they're talking about, like, kids of different ages and incomes, and, like, the second they say, like, rich kids, poor kids, they say poor kids, they immediately cut to, like, one of the two black kids in the show.
Oh,
so really bad CBS, really not in good taste.
Did not see that.
Yeah, did not enjoy seeing that, but yeah. All right, so
my first impression in this helicopter thing, I wrote down favorite leader ? And I put not Laurel, which is interesting as how it plays out because obviously by the time you get to the end of this episode, it's like Taylor's got to go.
See, I had a journey with Mike.
I had a journey with Mike too, but nothing. I mean, Taylor.
We must keep in mind Taylor is very young.
She's 10. She's pretty young. She's the youngest leader. They try to do a variety of ages, right?
Yeah, she's a beauty queen. She's not going to wash dishes.
Exactly.
Mike comes in, and Mike reminded me of like so many kids I went to school with. He's like very bossy, very sure of himself, not doing any. So, like, their first thing they do, they get dropped off.
Is it like 2 miles?
And it's like a 2-mile walk.
Such a weird way to start the show.
Wagons that they have to, like, carry back. So Mike's, like, yelling at everybody. He's not doing anything.
He's, like, cracking the whip, basically.
Yeah. And then there's the oldest kid is Greg, who's, like, 15. He's like, shut up. Like, you're not working. Like, I don't know.
Come here and pull this, and I'll boss you around.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. A lot of crying in the show.
Oh, I wrote that down too. Just so many tears all the time. You got 57 minutes, maybe every 3 minutes of the show, there's somebody crying.
So they're taking the supplies, I guess, to Bonanza City. Someone gets hurt. I can't remember who it was, but that
somebody just didn't want to pull that wagon anymore.
I think it was DK.
I wrote DK is dead meat.
Oh, yeah, DK. They're like, DK is from Chicago. He's not going to be able to make it out here. DK gets hurt pretty fast, but it turns out he just pulled a muscle. But when he's on the ground wincing in pain, it's like, DK is dead, I think. What happened to DK? If he just pulled a muscle.
It was like Oregon Trail, Do you leave him behind? Do you keep going? Do you have to sacrifice a bunch of food or whatever?
I would have thought DK got, like, his arm cut off with the way he was screaming, but it's like...
It's very much like a kid gets hurt, but he's probably not actually hurt at all. You know what I mean?
Some good sound bites, like, somebody mentions that, like, we're out here in the wilderness. There's no President Bush. And I'm like, oh, yeah, he was the president. I just thought that was funny.
That's good. That's good.
A lot of arguing.
I liked too, like in the school. I think it's back when they just get off the school bus. I saw like multiple kids with giant like musical instruments, like cases of instruments, and I was like, man, I would become a lightweight here. I don't want to drag all this crap around Bonanza City, but you know what? They want to make entertainment, and
that 2-mile walk with that instrument, that's not worth it.
That would have been tough.
Another good soundbite was Taylor, who's the leader, saying that like she missed home and she missed protein.
That was a really good point.
Like, I miss being home. I miss eating protein,
chicken, whatever else it said.
I mean, let's talk about the star. Good. I mean, we know who the star is. It's Jared.
I mean,
showstopper.
He is a showstopper. I will say that. He's got a great hat. There's a lot of hats, actually. I don't know if these hats were just given out by the show as like, hey, you're in Bonanza City now, get a giant cowboy hat.
Fortunately, when you Google Kid Nation, Jared in a cowboy hat is the first picture you see, so they know what they're doing. Jared, how would you describe him? He's young. He looks like Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things quite a bit.
Yeah, I don't know who that is, but I assume you're right. He's just a little... He's quirky.
Yeah, he's goofy.
Yeah, goofy. Goofy's a good word.
He's fun.
I think I read that in one episode he is reading Shakespeare to a chicken.
Yeah.
So
well, he bought like a Shakespeare book in this episode. So
yeah, so he's an interesting dude. He's an interesting cat. I also wrote here they do introduce to the town council that at the end of I guess they say this 4 days or whatever it is.
Yeah.
They're going to have the opportunity to give a kid $20,000.
Oh yeah, the star, which looks so fake.
Yeah, it's apparently a gold star or whatever.
Yeah. It's worth its weight in gold.
I just wrote, like, you guys are just asking for trouble.
Yeah,
doing
for sure.
This type of stuff. But
yeah, I know.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I also wrote other first impressions. I wrote, people are going to love Greg. I don't know why I thought that.
That's funny because the opposite's true.
I guess because he was working hard and, like, basically, like, an ox. just pulling
Greg
everything.
gets into some mischief later, man.
I'd say
Good prank.
Greg and Blaze.
All right, so let's wrap up day one. They get back and they're tired, and they're supposed to like eat and have a meeting. The cooking of the macaroni doesn't go so well.
The kids don't even know how to use a can opener, so
Yeah, because they're children.
because you picked 8-year-olds to come out to.
Who is the girl? Sophia. She's like kind of like the cook.
She's a boss.
And she does win the gold star, so we'll just say that now.
She deserved it, I think.
I don't know. I have some
What,
thoughts.
you gonna give it to Greg? I don't know.
I was wondering why we didn't give it to Mike. So many good speeches.
Oh, Michael. Not Mike.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. It's too informal for you.
Well, it's just Mike reminds me of the guy, the town council guy. So.
Date Mike. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet me.
They're supposed to have a meeting at night, but everybody blows it off because they're too tired. So that's basically the first night. My question, so like they frame it like they're all just like sleeping on the floor and sleeping back, because there has to be beds, right?
I don't know. I mean, it's interesting because they go into these rooms where like stuff is strewn about everywhere, but then also there's a little nice trunk that has a bunch of like mattresses that you can lay on the ground,
Okay.
like roll-up
Yeah.
mattresses. So I'm guessing they just had these roll-up mattresses
Wow.
because I think there's another scene where it's like morning and the
Yeah.
cameraman sees all of them sleeping on the ground. So
Yikes. Day 2 starts with Jared quoting Martin Luther King Jr. Which
as it should.
you like that? He missed breakfast.
Oh, so much. I mean, I wonder how terrible this food was.
Was this the pancakes?
I don't remember.
Well, they eventually make pancakes, and like everybody says they're better than they thought they would be. But the macaroni looked disgusting.
That's when because they start throwing the macaroni in the water before it starts boiling. They just throw
classic.
it right in.
Classic.
At one point, somebody takes the macaroni and throws it out in the middle of the street. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Things are falling apart in Bonanza City, and it's just day one.
There's more trouble. Day 2.
I wrote also, before we even get to day 2, I wrote Greg is a ticking time bomb.
And you knew. You could tell.
I saw it coming.
Well, first you said he's
I
the
liked
star,
him at first,
and then you
but
said he's time.
at the start of the day, I was like, "Oh, people are gonna like Greg," and then at the end of the day, I was like, "Uh-oh, he's a bit I don't know, loose cannon, I guess you could say."
Greg's prank was appropriate for a 15-year-old. That's the kind of prank that you think is pretty cool.
I think he should have taken some eggs and cracked them
that's
gently
for sure.
and left them right in front of the door of the bunkhouse.
Avant-garde Greg. They'd eaten those eggs. Bonanza City. You gotta eat what you can. All right, let me get to day 2 since you keep going back to day 1.
Sorry, is day 2 the book?
Day 2. Hey, I got a lot, Jordan. Just
All right,
let me be your Sherpa up the mountain here.
please.
They're fighting again in the morning. Michael.
Thank you.
Gives a very rousing speech, which is why he almost
two in 2 days, right?
Yeah, he seems to be kind of a natural leader. I read a Reddit AMA that Michael did, and he said some interesting things.
I briefly saw an article that was written by him on a different site, but yeah, also very interesting.
I'd be happy to reference those things at the end if need
Okay, let's wait.
be. This is the book part. So remind me of the book. So like, do they bring the team leaders to like a cabin and there's a book in there, right? That's the deal.
Yeah, it's a secluded place. Everyone else is left to do something. They really want to make these leaders like just separated from the normal common folk.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be a journal left by the pioneers.
I could do without all this shit. Like,
Yeah.
this does nothing for
It's
me.
from 1885, apparently.
Immaculate.
Immaculate. Also,
Yeah.
it's got like beautifully digitally printed cursive.
Yeah. It had a
says,
real
like-
community theater feel to it, the prop.
It was so stupid. It says something like, we weren't able to make this town work, but we think you can if you do this. And it kind of like sets out like how they're going to divide the town into teams and districts. You're going to be the red district and blue district and yellow district and green district. These pioneers, if they would have just done this before they left, they could have made it work. But I guess...
Yeah, this was why it didn't work out for him. Biggest laugh I got in the show was
Okay.
this moment here. Okay, so they're talking about picking districts, and like they're each like, I think they go to each one of the leaders like a talking head kind of thing. And they're like, well, that's cool because I want to pick this person because I have a good connection with them. And then I think Mike is like, well, obviously I want to pick Jared because he's got a good head on his shoulders. And then the camera cuts to Jared chasing a chicken by himself, and I was on the train. I just like went. It's so funny. Well, I want to pick. Obviously, Jared's like a good leader. He's got a good head on his shoulders in the camera. He's just chasing a chicken.
It's so mean.
Yeah.
It's awful. Yeah, I mean...
This is when the show won me over with the districts.
Yeah,
This was
yeah.
when I was like, before this I was like, this is kind of boring, but I got on board right here. I started to enjoy it.
What about this made you... I mean, this is just like, hey, let's create division in the town.
I think I like that.
Okay, so
More
yeah, more stakes. I'm someone who wanted these kids to succeed, and then I just knew they were pushing them down the wrong path. You know?
I liked the stakes. I liked sort of the descent. Probably this / the competition. I don't really understand the competition entirely. What was going on? It seemed needlessly complicated. It was never really clear what they were doing.
I can maybe give you an idea,
Okay,
but
yeah. All right, let me keep going.
Did we talk about the actual draft when they start drafting people?
No, I mean, like, I'm trying to think here.
I mean, Mike drafted like Team Giannis in the NBA All-Star game. He just
Yeah.
like picks these random
big,
people.
the big boys, right?
Not
Or
even no. He just picks Jared. He picks
Oh, right.
he picks like all these people who.
Well, you got
are,
it. Jared's a glue guy.
He is a.
Somebody picks Jimmy pretty early, and Jimmy is like telling them, "I don't want to be here," and he's crying, and he's like 8 years old, but he's like kind of he's a mascot. People want him.
Poor Jimmy. At the end, he's like, I thought it was gonna be fun, and it's not fun.
Yeah,
And
he's right. He's like, I'm too young to be here. I keep telling you.
yeah. I mean, they basically make Taylor take all the young kids. I think.
Yeah,
because she's the
She
youngest
doesn't
leader.
seem to care that much, so it's fine.
But yeah, I mean, imagine Taylor trying to like boss around Greg or
Sure. How's that
Sophia.
gonna work?
So
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know if this is a real draft or people are just getting put on people's teams. But
Hey, it felt real to me. So they draft, and like I think it's maybe the night falls, or they made
it's
it seem like
basically
it was
bedtime.
night. Yeah, and this is where you get Greg's sweet prank where he vandalizes all the other bunks by putting.
don't leave Blaze out of this. It was both of them.
Oh, Blaze. Well, I read later on in the show that Blaze switches teams, and he's out of. He gets away from Greg's bad influence, and he kind of flourishes.
Yeah, I think
He
we
might
all
even
have
win a gold
someone like
star.
that in there. This is when I tell you, Adam, I think we need to break up.
I'm the Greg, you're the Blaze. You've always seemed like a Blaze.
I wrote graffiti exclamation point at this
Yeah,
moment.
he's putting blue, and I was thinking that this would be the kind of thing that would make kids mad.
It would make kids
You
mad.
would, yeah, you'd like
One
you'd be
kid
like,
tries to like chase him away at one point when he's screaming blue at him. Like Jared was chasing that chicken earlier.
Yeah. Oh man. So I think this is the part where like they are given the option. I don't remember what leads to this, but basically, I don't know. Maybe you do, where it's the choice between. Or am I skipping ahead? Well, no. This is where we find out they only have one bathroom, which is disgusting if that's true.
Yeah, it's
and it's just
awful.
asking these kids to like
And it's a porta
pee in
potty.
front
It's
of
not,
each other.
Yeah, it's just a porta potty, so it's not even like a functioning bathroom with indoor plumbing and stuff. So they got to go to this outhouse in the middle of the night and squat down. Hopefully, don't get eaten by a rattlesnake or something.
It's not good.
But
did
then
you
go ahead. I was just gonna say, so like they frame it with, all right, here you go. We're gonna give you a choice. You can have outhouses or a TV, and
Yeah.
the kids
seven
lose their
seven
mind.
outhouses, seven
Yeah.
more, like
Yeah,
8
7
total.
more. So
Yeah.
a lot more outhouses. Not as much line for the bathroom, all that good stuff. Or like, I don't even know how this TV is gonna work. Right? Like they're not supposed to have electricity, but apparently they do.
I guess we're skipping ahead because this was after the challenge. So like,
Oh, okay. So
yeah,
Jonathan introduces the challenge.
yeah,
And also a class system, which is another great way to just, make people want to kill each other.
and the winner of the basically the order they come in the challenge will determine. And I can't remember, but like they even get like more money and stuff. Like at the top they get like $1.
The top people don't actually have jobs. They're just like royalty, and they get
Right.
$1.
Yeah,
The next
nice.
people are like the merchants who get 50 cents. The next people are the cooks who get 25 cents, I want to
Yeah.
say. And then the next people are the laborers who get 10 cents.
10 cents. Go ahead and explain this challenge to me.
All right. So the goal is they have like mini oil rigs, basically. And they have to like move them over certain colored pipes, which will spurt out.
It's quite complicated.
They have to spurt out their specific team color.
Yeah.
As they do, you strike black gold, as they say, and the water comes out the top, and they have to catch it in buckets.
Yeah.
Take the buckets to a designated spot where they can fill up 3 giant jugs of their
It's so
colored
long.
water.
It's needlessly complex.
And once they fill up 3 jugs, then they have to carry the rig
Across the finish line. It's an enigma inside of a riddle. I swear to God, it's so complicated. Even I stopped listening to you.
Yeah,
because
my eyes did glaze over
Yeah,
at this
it's
point. I was
just
like,
like-
get to the challenge. Create the class system already.
One thing I
man.
was thinking during the show was like, I feel like there would have been a lot of like swearing at Bonanza City because like they're all like kids and like I feel
Yeah.
like kids like needlessly swear because they want to
I
seem
read
older.
something about this.
Oh, you did? What'd you read?
So I read that by the Michael guy, he read that, like, as you can imagine, all these kids away from their parents, they were just cursing all the time.
Yeah, right.
But they did not put it on the air. They did, however, bleeped out one thing for Greg because they wanted to cement his persona
Bad
as,
boy.
like, the bad boy. So
Yeah, I would imagine. Like, I feel like they would just be swearing left and right because like that's.
I mean, you would have been just dropping F-bombs.
Oh man, I'd have been
all day.
so blue. Yeah, man, that's crazy.
I tell you
was dropping
what-
F-bombs watching this with you.
I tell you what, when that talent show came up, the next episode or two, when they do that, you would have been right on stage telling some nasty jokes, too.
Oh man, I'd have been Dangerfielding it up. All right, red team, which is Mike's team, somehow like you think the team of older kids are going to win the challenge, but they
Team
don't.
Blue.
Yeah, which was pretty cool.
Well, there is a quite a competition between the two, you know. But you know what? Mike has been. We didn't mention this earlier, but like Greg gets in Mike's face at one point.
Yeah.
Mike cries. Mike is.
Mike apologizes to Greg.
It's very wild. We're
Yeah.
good, right? And Greg's
Yeah.
like, "Sure, get out of here. I'll punch you in the face."
Sure, I'll kill you, kid.
So Mike, he wants to show that he's a leader.
Yeah.
And Greg's a punk, and so he takes Red Team over the finish line, and they are the. I don't remember what they label it, but they
Upper
get
class,
$1, upper
whatever.
class, and they don't have any designated roles. They get to do whatever they want, basically.
Sweet gig.
Awful get like, just terrible
Hey
design.
man, that's great work if you can get it.
I mean, if this is real life, somebody's gonna get murdered.
I tell you what, yeah,
Greg's gonna sneak into Mike's room and just like,
strangle him.
jeez.
Gonna do the end of.
He's just he's gonna take that Pioneer book and just beat him over the head with it.
It's gonna one flew over the cuckoo's nest him. Blue team finishes second. That's the team of older people. The yellow team of children, like the smallest ones,
How?
finished third, and then green, which is Laurel's team, finishes fourth. Shame on you, Laurel. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, and like, so this there is another point to this game to win that team prize, the outhouses versus the TV.
Yeah.
everyone has to finish in this certain certain allotted time, and they just do with seconds to spare. So I guess
close.
that's the town team building thing, is rooting for them to get the TV or the outhouses
Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah, at one point, someone mentions that they got the wrong. I think blue team. This is why the red team beat the blue team.
Yeah.
The blue team went to the wrong pipe and started pumping red water instead of blue water.
It's almost like it's really complicated. Children can't quite understand this.
Greg the dunce couldn't figure it out apparently.
Oh man, yeah. So they all they finish the challenge or whatever, and then they have to choose between the 7 additional outhouses, so 8 total, or 1 television
That you can watch for 30 minutes.
Yeah. I guess to the show's credit, they don't stretch this out very much because it is pretty obvious what they have to do. But I mean, there are a couple dissenting voices in the
There's
crowd.
quite a few actually who are like, "Give me the TV."
Yeah, but
I think Mike says he's gonna go crazy because he hasn't watched TV in a week.
Mike's like, I gotta watch TV. It's like, someone brings it to the point where it's like, how are we all going to agree on the same thing to watch? It's like, fair point.
I'm wondering, do they have cable or antenna or what?
It's Dish out there in Bonanza City.
Satellite?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
They're going to get
Dish.
some of that tool time.
For sure, yeah. So they choose the outhouses.
Everyone's sphincter is happy.
Yeah, I mean you just can't have one toilet. I mean that's a real like child endangerment problem for the show.
I would say
right there.
that does seem like a crime in itself. I don't know.
Moving on, some dissent among the group. So there's the yellow. I think it's the yellow team. They're like the cooks. So they make a breakfast, and it seems like it tastes pretty good. People seem satisfied.
I like when they start that though, because
Yeah.
they start like saying the yellow team, the cooks, they don't really like to follow the recipes.
There's like pouring. They're making pancakes, just pouring.
I like that. So they leave recipes for these kids. I'm sure the pioneers left them too. You know, mac
Yeah.
and cheese from the 1800s.
Yeah,
So stupid.
it is so dumb. It's the dumbest part of the show.
But yeah, I can just see, these 8, 9, 10-year-olds, like, I don't know, like I didn't really learn how to cook
I tried to make
anything
French
until I
toast
got
when
to
I
college.
was 15, and it was the worst thing in the world. These kids are like 8 making breakfast for 40 people.
But you know what? When you haven't eaten for a day and you had to travel 2 miles and pull a bunch of stuff, and
So you just competed in a weird pipe challenge.
I just kept thinking, like, how smelly are these kids?
Yeah, you gotta think there's some. They're
Actual
able to
showers or
shower. I
something?
mean, there's gotta be. I read that there was like a child psychologist on set and stuff.
Yeah.
So like there are some measures being taken to like make sure that they don't just like.
But
die.
is there a shower? That's the real question. I guess we have to keep watching.
Hey, and I'm not gonna say whether I won't yet. Anything's possible. This is where we get Taylor's line where there's like I said, there's some dissent because they won't clean up after their meal.
Sophia's not happy about it.
She's not
the
happy
cook.
about it. She's meddling a little bit.
She's supposed to be, a laborer or something?
Yeah, it's unclear, but
It seems like, I don't know, if you were me, instead of tying these people to random jobs that they might be terrible at, like maybe just give people who might have a natural affinity for them.
Jordan, it's the drama of the show that keeps it interesting. It's lines like Taylor's where she's like, "I'm a beauty queen. I don't do dishes."
I know, but it does seem like Sophia somehow is cooking at some point too.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Yeah.
it's a bit muddled, but yeah,
There's
go
a
ahead.
thread where like they want you to think that like Taylor might, because it's like Taylor and Jimmy they're like unhappy and might want to leave, and they kind of keep that going throughout the show.
I mean, Taylor not only is just 10 years old, but she's a leader, so she's got a lot of strife coming from all sorts of directions
but she
too.
misses her protein.
She does miss her protein. Meat and protein, I think is how she phrases it earlier.
What do you think about this part of the show where they all go to their little fake? They get some money because they did like a day's worth of labor, and they all go to their little shops and buy it. This work for you?
I mean, it just made me laugh because it's very much kids. Like they all, first of all, there's a saloon where they can get root beer.
Yay! Cool.
I mean, you and I, we would have been hanging out at that saloon, playing some poker.
Anjay is like, got to make mine a double.
They go, like, everyone's buying up the store of candy. They're all broke in a second, basically, because they just spent all their money. But I don't know, it's fine. It was unclear to me. So you could buy candy.
Yes.
You could buy, I guess, a good time at the saloon with some root beer, and it'd been nice if they would have had to like pay for music or something.
Yeah.
I think you can buy books, right? Because you said Jared gets like a Shakespeare book.
Yeah, Jared. Yeah, I think it's Shakespeare. Yep.
Okay. It's unclear all the things that they can buy necessarily. Do they have to buy their own toothpaste or whatever? I'm not sure.
Sophia sees a bike she likes.
Oh yes.
But she doesn't have enough money because she's like in the lowest class. She only has like 10 cents. So she goes outside and
she kind of becomes a streetwalker.
Yeah,
immediately.
I didn't like that so much. I don't know.
It was a bit strange.
They were toting a line there with that, where she's dancing for money. She wants to buy her bike, but people are pretty good sports, and they somehow she gets $3 and buys the bike.
And she, as a laborer, only earned 5 cents. So
I'm calling BS on her getting the $3.
Seems like instead of doing whatever her laborer job, she should just be the street entertainment, dancing, getting tons of money.
I got a note here that says Michael is a good boy. So must be he did something nice.
Are you talking about the dog that you want to buy?
Yeah, he's a good Michael from the show. He gives good speeches. He's a good boy. I don't know.
He does, he tries to bring some reconciliation when they're at this town hall meeting later, and things seem to be falling apart rather quickly. 4 days in, it seems like chaos might erupt, but Michael stands up and gives a rousing speech.
Again, his third one of the show.
And he's saying, what's the content? I mean, we're not to the town hall, I guess, but he does say something like, you're not just representing yourselves, you're representing kids everywhere because no one thinks we can do it. And you know what? Everyone's right, so...
Did you know 9 million people watch the show? Watch the premiere?
That's
a lot of people.
I was one of them.
Oh, man, you're part of that 5.8 household share. I'm at the town hall meeting as far as my notes.
All right.
Yeah, this is where I was getting a little burned out on Taylor.
Yeah, and them asking Jimmy a million times if he's gonna leave.
Yeah,
I guess we did skip them going jackrabbit hunting, but
it's great. Iconic.
Three. I don't know. They're probably 8, 9, and 9, and they're just walking around with sticks. And then at one point, girls kind of come near them. They're like, "Girls, get out of here!"
Oh, classic. I wrote
and they're all
Michael
they bonded
2020.
so quick. Oh yeah, that's
Michael
true.
should run for
They've
president.
all bonded so quickly. Because the other two boys, I think one is Cody. He's like, I really hope Jimmy doesn't leave. I really like him. And I know he misses his girlfriend or something like that. And I was like, Jimmy's got a girlfriend?
Of course he does. Little player. Play, please. This is kind of this is what it all builds up to is this town hall meeting.
Right.
Yeah. So is anyone leaving? They really mind that for a lot of drama.
Oh my gosh. He's like, are
is
you
anyone
leaving?
thinking about going home today?
They really want someone to leave is the way they present it.
Yeah,
seems
Taylor
like.
decides to stay. Also, I like that the 4 leaders are sitting up on, literally on a pedestal. Yeah.
We're in charge here, so shut your mouth.
Jimmy leaves shockingly, despite saying, even though he said he was going to leave the entire show.
The rest of the pioneers, young pioneers, I should say, they audibly groan. They're very upset.
Yeah, gone but not forgotten. Jimmy.
Yeah, they're losing one of their own here.
It's sad to see, just an icon like that.
Also, somebody else is going to need to cook now. You're losing one of your cooks.
That's true. Yeah, hey, that's true. So this is where we get the gold star, and they don't know that it's worth $20,000. Only the leaders do.
Right. They just say, we're going to give you a gold star or something.
Yeah, which is who cares, right?
Yeah, because they don't present it once. Okay, so they talk. Oh, this is also funny too. Jonathan's like, why don't you guys take a second and talk amongst yourselves? And they kind of gather around the table, but it's a long table, so it's hard for them to gather.
Everybody would be able to hear what they're saying. Yeah,
I don't know. Mike was really cupping his hands. He was like, "Hey."
That's true. Mike's a handful. And the show kind of poses it as it's either going to be Sophia who. But, there's some drama because Sophia speaks out against Taylor just seconds before.
Before.
Yeah, because she's like, you didn't want to do the dishes. And, so I didn't know if Sophia was going to get it. It's Sophia or Michael. Michael because he made so many great speeches. Sophia because she made
Danced.
And dance. Dancing should have lost it for her.
I mean, did you see how happy they were when she was riding that bike down the road?
It was a lot of happiness.
That just brought joy to the whole town.
That's true. Sophia won. Sophia wins the gold star. And they have her make a speech, which I thought an odd choice.
She won an Oscar. So
many people to thank. So she gets the fake looking
immediately
gold.
after she,
called out Taylor.
Called out Taylor and the town council in general. I think.
Yeah.
I think they talk about you need to get to know your town members or whatever, your team members or something too.
Yeah.
I don't know who mentions that, but yeah, after calling them out, she's like, "I love you guys."
It's you guys are the best. Thank you. She gets the gold star, and this is where she finds out it's worth $20,000.
She loses her mind.
Yeah, I mean, you would.
I mean, to her, that's $1 million.
To me, it's $1 million. I think 20 G's.
I'm not saying I'd turn it down, but...
And also with that, she gets to go and call her mother in the secret phone room. that is equipped with an old-timey phone. Did you notice that the phone is like...
Well, yeah, the pioneers installed that, and it's the one living vestige besides the book.
It works, too. It's great.
It does. An instant connection. In fact, it transports you right to Sophia's mom's house where there's a camera on her.
And a cat just kind of jumping around.
She's so happy.
Yeah.
Sophia's mom is very happy.
Yeah, she sees dollar signs. She's like, I already got 5 G's for throwing my kid out here. Now I can get
Give me another 20.
Yeah. What else? Old-timey phone.
There's not a lot left after the town hall meeting.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's kind of it. I then it kind of becomes like a next week on sort of thing.
Next week, to kill or not kill a chicken.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. That sounds controversial. It's real credits fade to black on. I'm trying to be a leader here.
I will say, we didn't mention this,
Mm-hmm.
there's some kids, like, milking goats and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, good on them. There's a couple kids who, like, you obviously want to have in this scenario because they grew up on farms and have done this before. And they're just...
kids are from all over. Like,
right.
Like Jimmy's from New Hampshire. You got Taylor's from, like, the South. Yeah, they're farm kids. And, yeah, they bring unique skill sets, each one of them. You know?
Yeah, and I wrote DK's dead meat, but I think he proved me wrong later in the show, so...
Yeah, I mean, when he got when he pulled the muscle and it sounded like he died, I was sort of nervous as well.
I think I even wrote that before. He had, like, a talking head, and I was like, oh, no, DK's done.
DK is in trouble. But DK lived to see another day. One funny thing about the pilot, 9.07 million viewers. The second episode, 7.6. So there was a drop off.
Quite a drop off. They're like, we're not safe for this.
Did you? You didn't watch the second one, right?
I don't know how long I watched the show. I really don't have a clue.
Do you think you made it to Where's Bonanza, Dude? Episode 12.
Well, episode 13. What was that? We've all decided to go mad or something.
Yeah. But
they start looting stores.
That's it. I gotta say, man, I told you what I enjoyed watching it. It was pretty. I mean, it's really funny.
Yeah, especially watching it now.
Yeah, it's riveting in a way that is just like, what is going? Like, this is so dumb.
It's so wild at the same time.
It's wild. It's unlike anything I've ever seen. I mean, it's like a lot of it, like, it rings kind of phony and very, like, reality and stuff.
I mean, people are feeding people lines. There's a faux history here.
Right.
There's obviously things happening off screen. The needlessly complicated games that they play, and the way they're setting up strife and
drama and stuff.
The screaming Team Blue and graffiti and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
I mean.
It's a production, definitely.
But it seems like humanity at its finest.
I think so. Yeah, it doesn't seem like they're taking advantage of these kids at all. I don't know. Just the kids were fun. I really laughed a lot. It's it's stupid. It's so stupid, but like it's watchable in the most, like, I don't know, just like kind of trash that you could throw on and kind of have a good time with. I think that if we lived in the same town, I could see us, meeting up once a week, throwing this on, and working our way through 57 minutes is long, but
and all the other episodes won't be that long, right?
Okay, I don't know. Yeah, you tell me.
I think the rest of them are going to be like 40 some, because I remember looking at, you asked like which episode we're doing, and I saw other ones that were 40 minutes. I think. Now
the problem is, and one thing that's preventing me from continuing to watch it, other than I'm an adult and I have a job and stuff, is like there's no like what are they building towards, like there's not like a winner really, so it's kind of like I'm just gonna watch this happen again and again.
Like if they did build a functioning town, would they just stay there for the rest of their lives and forgo the rest of their education, or like I don't know. It's true, it's hard to know what the pinnacle is or what season 2 might have been. Like, do you just do a whole new town?
Double the kids. 80.
Double the oil rigs.
And I guess the last episode they got a $50,000 gold stars that went to Sophia, Morgan, and Miguel. I don't know Morgan. Migle. I don't know who the last two are. But DK ended up getting a gold star in week 6. So
I know DK really proved me wrong.
You're eating your words. And Greg, man.
Greg, I read that Greg one time he was in a debate for a gold star, but they thought he was kind of being phony. He was just like doing it for the money. Because that's the other thing. At the end of this town hall, they tell everybody it's worth $20,000. And they all know.
Yeah. So shouldn't everybody be on their best behavior?
Right. And it's kind of stupid. I would have. It would have been better if no one would have known and they would have given it at the end or something. I don't know. But
I agree.
But you know what? They manufactured all this drama, and that's what they wanted. So
No kids from Michigan, disappointingly enough.
Very disappointing. I would say, you said things that stop you from watching the show. Mm-hmm. It would be hard to watch.
Justify this with a family.
If you like you mentioned earlier, if like you and I were like getting together and like let's just watch this together and like just laugh and laugh and laugh while we're watching it, it would be it's harder just to watch myself. There were a couple times that I was watching it. Yeah. And I started laughing. Andrea's like, "What you doing?" I was like,
"Nothing." Stay up.
She told business. Did you talk to Kirsten at all about Kid Nation?
No, not at all. I don't know that I will.
Well, I just mentioned it to her today again, and she's like, "I've never heard of that show." And I was like, "Well, it's a shame."
It was on CBS. It was around. I remember.
I remember. I'll never forget it.
Who are some of your favorite kids? Jared for me. Jared, and I Michael obviously won me over, but then, Mike, it was a roller coaster, but I enjoyed the experience with Mike.
Oh, yeah. I mean, in real life, I would have hated him so much.
Yeah, but it's good. It's good television.
Yeah, I think Anjay is pretty cool, calm, and collected.
Yeah.
Seems like he'd be a pretty good leader.
Yeah.
They have elections, and he gets voted off the council at one point. But
maybe he got too big for his britches. Did you notice, we forgot to mention this, in the beginning, Anjay says, like, what do we need adults for? Adults have ruined everything in this world. And he's like, there's 3 good adults. I can't remember what.
He was like Gandhi?
Gandhi. It's a good quote.
That is a very good quote.
I can't remember it, though. It's like there's been 3 good adults ever.
It would have been funny if he was like Gandhi, R. Kelly,
Jay Leno. Yeah, something that really doesn't age well. Donald Trump.
All right. Other kids that I liked. I mean, Sophia is, I feel like, a roller coaster. Because, like, when she first comes in, she's kind of taking charge and is like, I'm going to cook some food for these people because you got the macaroni mess going on. So I did like her taking charge there. And I do like her calling people on their crap. Like, I like when she calls Taylor.
Somebody's got to do it.
She's like, somebody clean up this mess. If you're going to cook us stuff, it's part of your job. But, she doesn't get to enforce. Like, it'd be funny if somebody could be like, you didn't earn your 25 cents today. They take that away. There were a lot of the same kids over and over, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And I wonder if it changes as time. I mean, they probably focus on different kids.
Yeah, and some kids leave, and other kids get moved into the council and stuff, so they obviously have to play a bigger role. I was just worried about DK the whole time, I just didn't think he'd make it out of that episode, but he did.
I know. Me too. Hey, we're all a little worried about DK. I mean... It's wild. It's really something. I'm glad to finally have watched it, and I did ultimately have a good time with it. I'm
glad you got some context.
Me too. You were. I don't say this lightly. You were right. I was wrong. I can't think I would have enjoyed this in 2007 though. I don't think I would had enough distance.
Yeah. I mean, I probably wouldn't have.
You were not watching it, ironically.
No, I was interested.
Yeah, you were legit. You're like, this is a real social experiment.
I must have thought, like, I could lead a town or something. Not lead a town. I'm not a leader type of person. I'm much more of, like, behind-the-scenes type of person. Right. But I must have thought, like, I would, be able to function well in this society or something. Or, I don't know. I guess the marketing really got me. The kids with no adults, and can they build a town? And
well, it's like Home Alone on steroids,
Right. I thought these people might die or something.
Oh man. I mean, I don't know. It's wild. I would recommend people watch it. It's on YouTube. If you're listening to this and you are even slightly interested, you should check it out.
It's definitely worth listening to.
I think it's worth your time.
I did Google briefly, are there any podcasts out there that cover this? Mm-hmm. I saw one that did like 3 episodes back in 2016. Did not continue on. So
you're saying it's ripe for the picking.
Might be a market that we can address. It also seems like there's just people who like are stands for the show.
The Reddit thread that Michael did had like some really specific questions. Like some people were really into it. Yes. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so that's kind of interesting.
So it's a built-in audience. Yeah.
I think so. IMDb had 7.5 or 7.1 out of 10 was the rating that they gave. So
you can't really rate this thing. It's too wild.
Unrateable.
It could be a 10. It could be a 1. I could see both working
Numbers
out.
cannot contain Kid Nation.
Oh man. So I'm looking at this Reddit right now. It's basically like the big. He posted a picture of his gold star. Still has it. This is Michael who gave the speeches.
Nice.
One thing he mentions is a question. After the kids wash the dishes, did adults come in and re-clean them? He says, "Oh God, I wish." What else? Oh, he described the situation, how much of it was fake or whatever, and he says they did feed lines, Taylor got some lines fed to her in some episodes, and then one time they just the kids had taken care of the trash on their own, done a pretty good job, and then 1 week they just put a bunch of trash in the middle of Bonanza City, and we're this is your kid's problem, now you guys got to clean this up, so stuff like that, just kind of stuff
manufacturing stuff.
Yeah.
I read one time, I think in an article that must be related to this, maybe they just took it straight from the Reddit or whatever, but he said something there was one time where the producers really wanted to get this scene where apparently Michael also played the guitar, and they had him he was just playing the guitar by himself, and he's like, "Hey, do you think a bunch of kids would like to gather around you while you play the guitar?" And he's like, "No, I don't want to do that."
Yeah.
This is, and so they would try to push them into certain shots that they didn't want to do or whatever.
That's funny. He says that the chronology is falsely constructed. Each week's Pioneer journal reading introduced a new problem, but the reactions to things were generally pretty organic. He liked the producers. Everybody was cool, open, and well-intentioned on the project. Yeah. How much of the dialogue was scripted? None. Sometimes they'd ask you to repeat a phrase if it wasn't captured on camera or was muffled. He does not like Greg or Taylor. He says so multiple times in this thread, so they didn't get along.
I was thinking, so I guess Greg, he was 15.
Yeah.
So now he's a year or two younger than us.
Yeah.
Wonder what he's up to. Because okay, can we get into the Wikipedia article that has a list of all the participants?
Sure.
It's as you mentioned, a rather robust thread. I don't know where they get this information because they seem, for some people, to have a lot.
I'm betting those people are putting it in themselves.
You think so?
Maybe. How else? Yeah.
I mean, so one of the things that made me really laugh is they talked about this guy Divad.
Okay.
Or a girl, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
11-year-old Red District girl. She was known as the Potato Girl throughout the show for her dedication to cooking potatoes for the town. Amazing stuff on this Wikipedia.
That's a deep cut. That's specific. It's funny. It really in depth. Like you said, there are legitimate fans of the show. Trying to think what else. One more thing in this Reddit thread. He said Sophia stole a phone from one of the producers and called her parents in private, and they got really mad at her. It's kind of funny.
Oh, Sophia, take that gold star away.
I know, seriously, and she won one of the final ones. So, but yeah, I mean, it's unlike anything I've ever seen. They could not make it now. No way. If a promo was released of this online, people would burn down CBS studios. I don't think. Ultimately, is it a good idea? No, I don't think so. If it's as unsanctioned as they make it out to be, then it's not safe, and it's probably not a good idea. But it was a good kind of trashy watch, so it was a good time.
It's a miracle it got made.
It's a miracle it got made. Jordan, any kind of closing thoughts here? I don't need to fix Kid Nation. It's pretty good on its own. I mean, cut out the faux 1800s stuff, and the host is pretty brutal. But other than that, Jared, that's all I got to say. Jared, look up that picture of Jared and have yourself a laugh.
What would you have been like if you were thrust into this town as 11-year-old Adam? That's what I'm wondering.
11-year-old? I would have gone home, I think. Especially as an 11-year-old. I couldn't even stay over at people's houses overnight without getting scared. So, this was not going to work out for me. Fortunately, my parents wouldn't mind me out for 2K either.
Yeah, but I guess that's good. I feel like if I were there, I would have been so bored that we would have had to come up with games or gosh, I mean, there's only so much you could do.
Yeah, no TV, no, like, you just playing all the time, or what do you, yeah.
I mean, I guess they gotta cook and clean all day, except for those upper class folk.
40 days is a long time, too. Like,
Is.
a week would be a long time.
Yeah, 40 days. I mean, no wonder. I mean, I don't know how many kids went home out of all of them, but, there's things
I think
to
not
look...
that many, only like 2 maybe.
There, the interesting wrinkles in the show, they have a couple of different elections.
Yeah.
The last episode they do like the grand prize giveaways.
3
or
kids
whatever.
went home total, so not very many.
Oh, that's kind of a surprise, actually.
Yeah.
They have an episode that's like a religious episode.
Yikes.
It's pretty wild. From what I read, that might be an interesting watch right there.
Do you think you'll ever watch another one?
Not unless you make me.
Hey, I'm not gonna say. I can't say for sure. Anything's possible.
Yeah, you might get the itch in about 2 months.
There's a lot of I got a lot of free time, so Ooh, hey man, let me run through these town bonuses, okay? And then we'll start to sign off.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So the first week it was 7 outhouses. Second week they didn't get it because the task failed.
Oh, bummer.
Third week, microwave and cocoa.
Cocoa?
Like hot chocolate, I guess. Get those kids all amped up.
Do they? But don't they get to choose, or do they just get the thing? Because in the first one, they get to choose outhouse versus TV,
I think
right?
I think that this is probably what they chose ultimately. I can't give you the choices. I can just give you what they chose.
That would be amazing.
All right, week 4, religious books. Seems like a problem.
It's the one I'm talking about.
That's the one I want to watch.
Okay, from what the episode said is like they're basically like trying to force kids to like adhere to religions that they are not interested in, because you mentioned this is like a pretty diverse group of kids.
Yeah, for sure.
And there's a problem there. Like you're like forcing these kids to try to like, if they're Hindu, like come pray to something else.
As if this show didn't have enough like working against it, like with the like labor and stuff.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna do that too. Yikes.
So that I think a collection of books, I think it's a vast variety for everyone. Okay. So yeah.
Week 5, oral hygiene products. Does that mean they weren't brushing their teeth before?
Oh, and those kids were hopped up on candy. You know it, root beer and candy.
Yeah, I saw Anjay in the bar having 4 or 5 root beers. Week 6, fruit and vegetables. Oh, good to finally get those in there. I'm sure the kids were psyched for those. Candy
and dirt, that's what they were eating. And I guess that chicken they killed.
Week 7, new clothes and free laundry. Were they paying for laundry before? Week 8 and 9, they failed. Week 10, letters from home.
Oh, that's so sad.
Week 11, town arcade. Yeah, of course.
Oh, that's where we'd be.
Hey, guess what week 12 is? Hot air balloon ride. You know they were hype about that.
What a joke. That's so impractical.
That sucks compared to the rest of them, but it was probably fun. And that's it. So
yeah, they don't need any gifts for 13. Go home.
Go home and look at your miserable parents and ask your parents where the $5,000 went. All right.
Well, you did make it longer than the episode runtime, so
that's what I promised. I'm good, man. I'm glad I had a good time talking about it. I had a good time watching it. Kid Nation, unlike anything else, it really is. It's on its own.
Yeah, it's I've never seen anything that came close to it, and since it came out, and I don't think we will. I guess it's like the PG version of the Hunger Games a little bit, something like that.
I mean, I read on that's a good analogy. Lord of the Flies is a good one as well. Sure. Yeah, but I don't know, man. It's wild. And hey, thanks for being a Patreon subscriber, a patron of our Patreon, and I hope you enjoyed this conversation. We did.
We certainly did. Feel free to reach out to us with any comments, questions you have about Kid Nation. We'd love to address them. But I assume you won't, because no one ever does.
That's true, yeah. Usually I start off with a quote, but you got a lot of quotes throughout the episode, so you're in good shape. And
I just missed my protein.
Watch it for Jared chasing that chicken around. Pretty good stuff. When you call me on the phone, it's now that picture of Jared.
Good, I'm glad.
So, yeah, perfect.
I wonder if that's a GIF out there.
Oh, man, there's probably quite a few. I know what I'm doing tonight.
All right.
How do I sign off on these? I can't remember.
I think the same as usual, man.
Well, hey, listeners, thank you for listening. Kids, thank you for being a nation. And I guess I should say take care.
Take care, everybody.